All right, everyone. It turns out that the two most based people in the Trump administration are Marco Rubio, who is effectively a late stage neocon, and RFK Jr., who is a former Democrat. It's very interesting. Link in the description, archived, of course. RFK Jr. just fired all of ACIP. Now, this is a group that advises the CDC with regards to vaccination. And I like how the legacy media is casting him off as being anti-vaccine when he's not really anti-vax. He's like me. He's anti-forced vax. He's anti-useless, untested vax. That's basically where we lie. On this particular issue, I agree generally with RFK Jr. I believe that people should be vaccinated against diseases as children, although not on the same schedule that they currently use, for things that might cause, like pock marks and scarring and stuff like that. So measles, mumps, rubella, that sort of thing. I do not believe that people need to be vaccinated for topical diseases that are incapable of being defended against in general. For example, influenza. In any given flu season, you have to modify the flu shot that you're giving for whatever influenza strain happens to be predominant. There are multi-shots, of course, but it's not really necessary for people that are generally healthy, on the younger side and so forth. It's more necessary for people that are over the age of 65. Maybe they've got some sort of medical condition and so forth. And this is, by the way, something that is recognized by the CDC itself. This is not up for debate. It's recognized as a reality. There are certain childhood diseases, especially, that I do believe in vaccinating for. That being said, I also have something else I would like to posit. I find it very interesting that the US government will allow exemptions for people who happen to have certain religious practices, but they won't allow exemptions in general for any other particular purpose. So effectively, a person can simply join a religion. They're a Jehovah's Witness now, and so naturally, they don't have to be vaccinated, and it's a First Amendment right. But if they simply say, well, I'm not interested in that vaccine, all of a sudden they can be fired from their job. I find that a little bit odd. I find that a little bit strange. It's sort of like a relic of a past era sort of situation, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I support this move. RFK Jr. has distinguished himself as being one of the main members of the Trump administration. I think so far, generally speaking, he's doing a good job. And I love it when I see legacy media reports saying, well, this is dangerous. How? I mean, he's going to hire other people. It's just people that happen to agree with his particular disposition with regards to certain vaccines that shall not be named. That's basically all that he's doing. RFK Jr. is not against the concept of vaccinating for disease. He's against experimental research that's being done on a mass scale with regards to vaccines. Again, I share this position. I don't care if you get a vaccine. You should be able to do so. You should be able to get any vaccination that you desire on demand, actually. For instance, it's probably a good idea for some people. Veterinarians, for example, tend to get the rabies vaccine. They get that because it's related to their job. They choose to do so. Should they be compelled to do so or lose their jobs if they don't? No, they should not be compelled. The government shouldn't have the right to compel you to do pretty much anything, actually. The government can suck my ass, effectively. As far as vaccines go, I think that I'm on board with RFK Jr. This is a good decision. Firing these individuals or retiring them, as he personally terms it, I think is the right thing to do. And that's because the people that were giving the guidance are holdovers from an era in which they clearly erred. They clearly made the wrong decision. They quite clearly are authoritarians and therefore should be removed from those positions. So again, when the legacy media says this is dangerous, people will get sick. Well, believe it or not, people get sick on a regular basis. It happens all the time. I had food poisoning a few years ago because of that famous escargot incident from the Albert Heijn. It was not pleasant. Did I die? No. Did I puke my guts out and shit myself over and over again? Yeah, it was an incredible night. It was very wonderful. But I didn't die, now did I? Because I knew how to deal with the situation. Most people do. Most diseases are not going to kill you. They're an inconvenience, effectively. They're inconvenient, they're unpleasant, it hurts, it doesn't feel good, but it's not going to kill you. Now, preventing, again, diseases that are going to cause scarring and stuff like that, lifelong effects and things of that nature, no problem with it. But vaccinating for much of what is vaccinated for, look at the schedule. Look at the difference between, for example, when we were young, the mid 80s, the late 80s, something like that. The vaccine schedule then and the vaccine schedule now. They are completely apples to oranges. Saying there's still fruit, but it's a totally different species of fruit. They now recommend constant vaccination um, for things that typically are not really a problem. Oh, here's your vaccine for influenza. Well, I mean, you're going to get the flu. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. And you will suffer. It will be unpleasant for a few days. You'll be knocked out of order. Just the way that it is. You can't avoid it. There's nothing that we can do about it. There's no reason to vaccinate for it. And again, unless you're in one of those very vulnerable groups. This is, by the way, typical guidance by the WHO. It's meaningless to try to fight these diseases. There are those that we could effectively eradicate. For example, the guinea worm, and Jimmy Carter unfortunately passing away before the last guinea worm was crushed in a jar. Um, that's a parasite. That can be eradicated. We can eradicate polio. We can eradicate all sorts of diseases. We've already done that with smallpox. We've already done that with, what is it, rinderpest. That's an animal disease. We could eradicate a bunch of plant diseases too. I'm optimistic that we're capable of doing all of these things. A lot of it will be sanitation and education related as opposed to simply trying to vaccinate everything under the sun. You're not going to be able to vaccinate every tobacco plant from fusarium wilt or something like that Chinese researcher, ironically from Wuhan, was trying to bring into the country. There was now another arrest, another one apparently is trying to bring in roundworms. I have no doubt that they're genetically engineered. This happens all the time. Apparently, it's a big problem. RFK Jr. has made the right decision with this particular move. I think that this is the right thing to do. It's quite clear. Firing the people that are responsible for misleading the entire public for several years just kind of makes sense now, doesn't it? Hopefully, they get in individuals that are a little bit more wise, that are a little bit less paid off, so to speak. That's about all. Peace out.